will give you the chance to share your this one.
Sure. Thank you.
Sir, Dr. Venkatesubbai garu.
Sir.
Let us start and let the people join.
Yes, start it, sir.
Okay,
It's already
start
6:05.
with them, sir.
6:05.
Respected Chief Guest and Speaker, Engineer Prasad Jaladi, Engineer B. Brahma Reddy, FIE Chairman IEI Telangana State Center, and Professor Muhammad Moinuddin, convener of the event, and all the participants. First of all, I extend a warm welcome for the National Technology Day. So now I request Engineer B. Brahma Reddy garu to preside over the function and conduct the proceedings. Sir, please, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. J. Venkatesubbai garu, Honorary Secretary, Telangana State Center. And today we are celebrating National Technology Day with the theme School to Startups, Igniting Young Minds to Innovate. The respected eminent speaker, Sri Prasad Jaladi, founder and chief facilitator, Suraksha, United States of America, Dr. G. Venkatesubbai, FIE, Honorary Secretary, Institution of Engineering, Telangana State Center, Dr. Muhammad Mohinuddin, FIE, Joint Honorary Secretary, Telangana State Center, and convener of today's event, Professor Dr. Ramana Naik Banotu, FIE, immediate chairman, past presidents, council members of IEI, past chairman, past honorary secretaries, engineer Subbireddy garu, engineer Narayan Rao garu, engineer Narmada garu, Dr. Rameshwar Rao garu, all other dignitaries, Professor Ramanujacharya garu, members of Telangana State Center Committee, corporate members of Institution of Engineering, Telangana State Center, distinguished guests, representatives of media, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I feel it is a great privilege and honor to be amidst this August gathering and extend a warm and hearty welcome to the eminent speaker, Sri Prasad Jaladi garu, and all of you to this National Technology Day 2023. Today, I am very happy to be associated with this memorable event. I am glad to inform, as usual, the Telangana State Center is the legacy of erstwhile Nizam's Hyderabad State Center, which was formed on 28th August 2016 after bifurcation of AP State Center. It has more than 10,000 corporate members on its rolls and more than 19,000 members in its fold. Is one of the most active centers of the Institution of Engineers, which engage successfully in translating the objectives, mission, and vision of the Institution of Engineers India into practice. And we are also proud to inform the honorable audience that it has bagged 3 times Best State Center Award from 2021 going back 2019-20 and 2018-19. The Telangana State Center has been playing a very, very important role in dissemination of information on engineering and contemporary technology, bringing industry, academia, experts and professionals together on the same platform. And today, May 11th, is observed as the National Technology Day. Is the 25th one with the theme School to Startups, Igniting Young Minds to Innovate. This day acts as a reminder of country's technological advancements. And every year on this day, May 11th, India observes National Technology Day to recognize and honor the remarkable accomplishments and contributions of our country, engineers and technologists. The National Technology Day is a reminder of the important role of the technology plays in our day-to-day life and the need for continued investment and innovation in the field to ensure progress and growth. The National Technology Day is celebrated every year to commemorate India's successful nuclear tests that were conducted to celebrate the achievements of the scientists and engineers who have contributed to the development of technology in various fields. Following the day of May 11th, two more nuclear tests were conducted as part of the same operation, which brought India into the allied club of nuclear power nations. Apart from this, India also tested its first indigenous aircraft, Hansa 3, on this day from Bangalore. A successful test firing of the Trishul missile was conducted by India's Defense Research and Development Organization, that is famously known as DRDO, on the same day, May 11th, 1998. And the very significance of National Technology Day is to commemorate the outstanding achievements of Indian scientists, engineers, technologists in different areas such as defense technology, agriculture, healthcare, communication, and space exploration. This day offers an opportunity visions of these experts towards the advancement of the country. Further, it serves as a source of motivation for the younger generation to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields and promotes a culture apart from making India's nuclear prowess. National Technology Day also highlights the nation's progress in various fields such as space research, agriculture, health business. India always celebrates such national days, and National Technology Day is also celebrated throughout the India by all the centers of the Institute of Engineers. On behalf of the Telangana State Center of the Institution of Engineers and on my own behalf, I once again extend a hearty welcome to the respected eminent speaker, Mr. Prasad Jala, who is going to deliver the responsibility of the engineers in environmental protection for sustainability and all of you to this important event. Before I request Mr. Prasad Jaladi garu, I request Dr.
Hello. Good evening, sir. Brahma Reddy, sir. Are you getting my
Joint
voice clear?
Honorary Secretary.
Hello. Brahma Reddy garu. Ramanana, are you getting my voice clear?
Your voice is clear.
Okay then. So good evening.
Sir, you are
Hello.
audible. Moinuddin garu, you are audible.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
evening, all of you. I am Professor Moinuddin here. So it is a great opportunity to me to introduce our today's chief guest, Prasad Jaladi. Jaladi is a social entrepreneur, founder and a chief facilitator of a Suraksha based in Austin, Texas, USA. Suraksha is of a promoting innovation with of a environmental protection in mind of a around globe. Suraksha's commitment to support entrepreneurship was featured in the United Nations newsletter. Prasad has an executive experience in information technology, biotechnology, and pharma industries. He has built a a partnership to foster innovation and entrepreneurship. Prasad works with international scientists and organizations for technology commercialization. He is a mentor at a startup incubators in the United States and India. T-Hub, Atal, V-Hub, and India Network. Prasad supported a Fortune 500 to 1000 corporations, universities, government, and private research institutions, and hospitals in the North and South America, offering of a software, consulting, and training services. He established and managed a information technology consulting business in a Silicon Valley and Texas. Prasad supports the integration of artificial intelligence, VR and AR, blockchain, and Internet of Things. Prasad promoted SaaS for intelligence analytics to technologies, automation of intellectual property management, and data mining in general, expansions of analysis. Before moving to the US, Prasad worked in the pharmaceutical industry in India, handling management, consulting, business development, R&D, quality assurance, quality control, and a pilot commercial manufacturing and US FDA inspections. As a research and development manager, he has a couple of breakthroughs in manufacturing of a pharmaceutical product. Prasad is also an early adopter of information technology in the India pharmaceutical industry. Prasad is a steering committee member of the Texas Sustainable Business Network and Austin Reuse Coalition in the United States. Prasad has hosted international conferences and many workshops, cross-functional training programs to promote science and technology, workforce development, innovation, and entrepreneurship. He is a speaker on a global platforms about innovation for a sustainable planet. It is a great opportunity to me, sir, to introduce to you. Is a great. Immediately, you are accepted our invitation. So thank you so much, sir. So over to Mr. Chairman Brahmareddy Sagar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dr. Prasad Garu, sir, you can now put your presentation, sir.
Hello,
Thank you, sir.
sir.
Let me share my
Picture, screen sharing. Yeah, okay.
Can you view that one?
Yeah, right, sir. Your is okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Engineer B. Brahmareddy Garu, Chairman FIE, Chairman IEI, Telangana State Center for inviting me. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed Moinuddin, FIE, Joint Honorable Secretary, IEI, TSC, and convener of the event for doing a great introduction. And thank you, Dr. G. Venkatesubbayya Garu, FIE, Honorable Secretary, IEI, Telangana State Center, and Ramana Garu, and all the people I met early on, and all the great engineers who are raising the flag high in promoting not only the Telangana State Center, and also standing next and rubbing shoulder with Brahmareddy Garu to the progress of this Telangana State Center high in the nation, and having so many accolades along with B. Brahmareddy Garu, chairman of this group here in Telangana. I'm very fortunate to interact with you early on and this occasion as well. And I really hope that I would make this event as a memorable one. But one hook through there too. Usually we always talk about deep technologies, mean at the length of all these technologies, how we can achieve goals through A, technology wise, B, monetary wise, C, progressive wise. But today I want to paint a picture from different angle. I might be talking about certain things which are really, mind-boggling on the fly. But each time I mention something which is not happening in a good way is again a great opportunity for all of us. And I know that you are eminent and strong engineers, who built this nation even after I left this country 25, almost 25 years ago. So I applaud all your leadership, continuing the torch of progress all around the communities and also to the technology and contributing the great services to the nation as engineers. I really applaud your services on that front. So on this note, I can't move without saying Happy National Technology Day for all of you. And we have to celebrate this way in a nice way so that we have something to contribute not only to this nation, great nation of India, and also worldwide. So I would set the ground with an agenda. I would show a video of Suraksha, what it is doing, and I would also touch upon sustainability, state of the world on sustainability, India scenario, moving forward with mitigation, pathways to solve the problems, opportunities, and some closing remarks. And I may not be talking to many things that you are not aware, but again, as I said, I'm coming from different angles so that we can collectively approach the solutions to develop technologies in a new way so that we can have more progress also in the near future. So just a infomercial, you may not be able to hear sound, but again, oh sorry. But here is the story about Suraksha. Thank you for bearing with me. Before we move on, it is the time to pay attention on a few things. I hope you are all able to hear me well. So this is like, red, orange, and green light, a green light kind of approach for me about the things that we are going to discuss. So it's about pollution, climate change,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
biodiversity loss, how we can achieve that
7,
by learning, collaboration, action plan, regional and international
16,
partnerships. And what we can achieve through that is
19,
strategic plan, innovation,
21,
conference, collaboration, etc.
23,
So with that, we learn, innovate, and achieve something extraordinary.
27, 28, 29, 30.
So let's touch upon what is sustainability. I know for sure that you all know about this. Sustainability is based on a simple principle. Everything that we need for our survival and well-being depends either directly or indirectly on our natural environment. To pursue sustainability is to create and maintain the conditions under which humans and nature can exist in productive harmony to support present and future generations. Now, I know many of us in sync with that, but there is a lot of things that we could accomplish on this front. And I feel sometimes like I'm preaching now to the choir, but the reality here is there are so many gaps that we all need to plug in so that we can thrive as a successful civilization moving forward. In this connection, I would also like to touch upon triple bottom line, that is about people, planet, and profits. This is coined by John Ellington in 1994. He's also a founder of Wallen Ventures, and he is very prominent person in promoting the green technologies, etc., around the globe. And he's a regular speaker on global platforms also, writing several books on how do we thrive using green technologies, developing green technologies, and creating green economies at the same time. The other jargons, as you know, might be touched upon are corporate social responsibility and also environmental and social governance. Moving on, IPCC recently cautioned on a few things, like, if we cross 1.5 degrees centigrade because of the emissions that we are going to discuss pretty soon, there might be dire consequences, that would actually make our planet totally unstable, and it may not be reversible also in some instances. So nobody knows what are the consequences, but it is the time to pay attention and do right things that are meaningful. And I believe engineers should be leading the path so that everybody would follow in this world on the good deeds that they could bring onto the stage, technology-wise, economy-wise, and also vibrancy-wise, and that also should include biodiversity promotion. Next thing is, we talk about emissions. These emissions enter into the atmosphere like crazy, and unfortunately, the India story is on number 3. But our biggest concern is the population number. We became the #1 populated country in the world nowadays. So that's alarming one way. On the other hand, we have to deal with the emissions also, because we stood number 3 in the world, which is kind of very dangerous path we are on. Just to touch upon the scope of emissions, they are divided into scope 1, 2, and 3. Most of you are very familiar with those things. These could be direct and indirect operations of the organizations, processes, and products and services included. And the problem with the emissions is the temperature is rising. With the temperature rise, we go through certain issues like dry land, water scarcity, soil erosion, vegetation loss, wildfire damage, permafrost degradation, tropical crop yield declines, and food supply instabilities. A disclaimer: this is not to scare anybody or to offend anybody on what's going on here. But these are all the things that we constantly need to keep in mind from now onwards, at least to drive the technology and innovation moving forward, because we have a lot of experiences based on our own education and also functional experiences down the road, so that we can alter the curve in a different direction, so that we all can benefit out of it professionally and financially also, including country prosperity. So anything that would go beyond 1.5 degrees would put us on a hardship in creating a situation where we can see all these drastic changes on the land in any country. So this is to be very useful. This is supposed to be very useful information to make a note, so that we can come back and discuss on fixing these things as engineers. So every issue has an engineering opportunity. We can re-engineer ideas and also infrastructure to deal with these things and come out with flying colors to fix all these problems in case if we are at a tipping point of 1.5 degrees. I hope it would not happen with your ingenious, brilliant minds as engineers. So when we talk about temperature rise due to the emissions, it also has a linkage with the rain. So whenever there is a temperature rise by 1 degree, the water evaporation increases by 7%. Cool clouds are filled with a lot of water. They don't know where to dump. So the pictures that you see here are 3 cities. One is Houston in Texas. The second one is one of the China's very prosperous city. The third one is our own Hyderabad. So as I mentioned, when the temperature rise is going on, the water evaporation increases exponentially, and the cloud burst would happen in any place. We have seen and witnessed Hyderabad mess. in several instances in recent years. So just to let you know the economic consequences of this thing, Houston is paying something around how much? Around 125 billion damages towards this, heavy rainfall due to Harvey, for example. For 4 days, Harvey dumped 60 inches of rain in and around Houston. Same thing with the China city, and of course, in India also the rains are exponentially increasing on odd times, and that would cost money. The reason why I brought up this 125 billion bill is somebody got to pay these bills, So out of these tragedies, we can also develop technologies, right? You see the downtown submerging like crazy. If you notice the flyover on the left, in the left image is in the downtown, and it is 30-meter high at least, and that looks like a small, what we call a bridge on a canal or something. Actually, it is high that nobody expects water level could go that high. It's not just the water flowing on these bridges and getting into the cities, but there are other consequential things. Every drop of pollution that is on the land would also get mixed into the water, and that pollutes groundwater, drinking water, canals, rivers, and everything else. So these are all the simultaneous dangers that we face whenever these incidents happen. So on the other side of it, the bright side is we can actually think ahead of these issues and then develop the infrastructure. Hyderabad being growing as a fastest city in the world nowadays, we need to address these issues also. So we need to look into opportunities where we can improve drainage systems, levee systems and canal systems, and also controls where we can actually filter out some of the garbage that may flow into the water when there is a flood in a crazy way. So these are all the ideas that we can actually think of out of these tragedies as well. I hope you are getting my point. I'm painting a picture from a panic to opportunity scenario. So we talked about the pollution. Actually, it is also divided into 3 areas. One is pollution of poverty. The second one is pollutants of growing prosperity, and the third one is emerging pollutants. Sorry. So let's deal with each one here. Regarding pollutants of poverty, 80% of world's wastewater is released into the environment without any treatment. That means many municipalities doesn't even have the municipal water treatment facilities. So this is entering into our water bodies, B into our water bodies beneath the soil. So groundwater rather. So this is an unfiltered issue which is going to cause very, very big problem. If you flip that into the opportunity case, we can actually develop infrastructure to deal with this mess. So on the other hand, if you think about pollutants of growing prosperity, chemicals and waste from industry, agriculture, pesticides and fertilizers are part of it. Unfortunately, the Asian story is we are using 700% excess of fertilizers to grow our food and paddy, etc. in South Asia, which is a dangerous path to move forward. So we can actually think about fixing these issues, creating more efficient effluent treatment plants, etc., so that these dangers won't enter into the water bodies, if not our groundwater. The third one is emerging and more dangerous thing like micro and nanoplastics, including pharma and drugs, etc. The microplastic, is causing so much danger to even an unborn child. They have already entered into the placenta of an unborn child, which is a tragedy nowadays. And in olden days, we used to hear about acid rains. Nowadays, we are hearing about plastic rain. So actually, raindrops are bringing down plastic particles along with that. So this is another concern. Apart from the thing that we need to know that we are drinking plastic every day through our bottles and plastic containers for used for coffees, teas, and other things, food, of course, food, etc., including the cutlery that we use to eat food. And in general, in a man's life, it was estimated that we are consuming about 40 kilograms of plastic that's been ingested into our body system. And if you flip that around, healthcare issues, there is a lot to do to fix this big problem. So you engineers could do this more wisely than anybody else. So here is a great opportunity to deal with all the pollution related to water. And especially in the big water bodies like oceans, this is all prevalent around the globe, with 964 trillion tons of plastic garbage in North Pacific and 564 trillion tons in North Atlantic and Mediterranean Sea around 231. Indian Sea has 591.3 and South Atlantic 127.8 and South Pacific 210.2. Why I am talking about this, we can actually build systems that would filter out these things before they enter into the ocean. It's a huge business, and it is also a huge way of collecting plastic before they enter into the water bodies. This is a great opportunity for engineering talent also nowadays. So we can actually collectively achieve these goals to prevent this thing. And the problem with the plastic particles in the water body is, especially in the ocean context, many sea creatures would swallow the water, and that microplastics would enter into their bodies. Sometimes those plastic toxins kill them, or in other case, they are also entering in the food chain. So we are consuming those sea creatures like fish, and we are getting these plastic into our bodies directly from the food chain. So this is another danger path we are on health-wise. So the next one is electronic waste and also the landfill. So I don't have to dwell much on these things because you are engineers, smart, and you know all the consequences of doing these things, all the consequences that happen through these things in the form of heavy metals, seepage, and other things that are daily happening in our landfills. Any city has this big problem, and the problem with this situation is no city has money to deal with the leaching of these heavy metals. So we need to be smart. We need to be building smart infrastructure to deal with this kind of issues that are very, very prevalent to a small village to huge city. The next thing is, we are dealing with air pollution a lot. Invisible, it is known as an invisible killer. If you look at the right-hand side, you would notice 29% of deaths are happening due to lung cancer. That is due to the air pollution. 24% of deaths due to stroke. 25% of heart disease, and death because of the pollution. This is a worldwide study done by UN. So we have to breathe healthy air for better life. So we need to have clean air and we need to have clean air for having healthy future as well. The other thing is I want to touch upon food also. These are all the carbonated drinks, refined sugars, artificial foods, and processed foods. So there is a lot of engineering tinkering that is supposed to happen here. We can actually come with recycling ideas of those things and create a new product line on those things, including the packaging, avoiding plastic liners, etc. This is an emerging field. Every product has a packing material. So most of these things are toxic. And one thing that we need to remind ourselves is eating well is a form of self-respect. So whatever we eat from now onwards needs to be more meaningful in terms of nutritious rather than the fanciness of a can or bottle or the package. Apart from what it carries, which is dangerous to our health, in many cases, all these products are making us obese, and it costs any nation a lot of money to deal with the healthcare situation. Even personally, family-wise, individually, it costs a lot when we get into a heavy consumption mode of these things. So even though I work in pharma industry, sometimes I feel like we are overselling medicine. So first we create medicines, we create problems, then we are finding solutions rather than reminding ourselves on a thing that we all know prevention is better than cure. All in all, medicine is not health care. It is actually sick care. So we need to keep this in mind. So medicine is there to treat sick people, not the healthy people. So let's practice food as health care stuff, and we need to be mindful on what kind of food we consume every day, kids included. So just to pinpoint the reality in India, if you look at the graph here, almost 35 to 40% are having stunted growth, which is not good. If we are not eating well and we are having stunted growth, that leaves our nation not that healthy. That means in all fronts, including athletics, including gold medals in international competitions, we perform less. So these are all the societal issues also down the road that we need to keep in mind and change the way how we engineer things and how we create our food products so that we all can stay healthy and get more credentials, including winning gold medals in international competitions. We should earn more medals by the virtue of population by now, but it's not happening to that length. And of course, politics are there, but again, there are other things that are also hindering the performance of our own brothers and sisters in games, etc. This is something that we need to keep in mind down the road. So agriculture has its own menace, and here I am trying to depict. Supply chain has 18% within that. Non-food food 26%, and non-food area has 74% of global emissions. If we consider that as 100%, so within that 26, supply chain has 18%. If we again consider it as 100%, and then livestock and fisheries has 31% of emissions. And crops and annual feed, etc., including crop production, has 27% share in it, and land use for human food, etc., has 24% emissions. To fix the emissions, we can actually engineer a lot of things here. Bringing in new ideas to prevent emissions, and also produce healthy food in terms of two ways. One, we know many crops consume a lot of water also. I have given a chart on the right hand side. For example, we use rice, right? Each kilogram of rice consumes 2,497 liters of water, and potato 287 liters of water, so on and so forth. We are good on producing rice, but unfortunately, we turned out to be the diabetic nation in the world. So that is again an expense to the health. So we need to be mindful in balancing these things and produce good food rather than producing and consuming good food that has high carbohydrate levels and put us in obese situation and also diabetic conditions. So I really worry about India becoming diabetic capital of the world. So we need to fix this issue as soon as possible before things get too worse in the near future. This is not to scare anybody, but these are all the opportunities that we can look into deeply. We don't have to reinvent several things. We can actually develop more technologies based on the existing ideas as well. If we put our mind on a few things, of course, there are always a lot of scope, and ideas that would emerge from those ideas as well, so that we can progress together as a great nation, greening everything in terms of agriculture. So soil has its own thing, you guys, you all know about those things and has better knowledge than me. So I want to just move on to the next topic. The next biggest thing is the fashion technology. It involves fiber, leather, plastics, dyes, metals, detergent, microfibers, etc. They are everywhere. Actually, we're also drinking microfibers in our water. We can't see them with our naked eyes. But here is the thing: whenever we think about developing a dishwasher, maybe a washing, we develop those machines that could filter all these microfibers and also toxic chemicals from it, including plastics, and mitigate dyes, etc. At the dispersion point where these things again flow into the canals and rivers and ultimately into the ocean. So these things are also happening in a big way without our knowledge, and there are alternative pathways where we can create leather through plants like agave and other models. We can even develop biodegradable plastics from the plants that we use to make jute, etc. These are all few ideas. We can actually develop metal alloys that are very, very better in performance and more useful in absorbing heat and transfer heat also in terms of dealing with these things. If you talk about the metals, you can also think about the utensils that we use in our cooking. So there are so many issues with that. Cancers where there is a huge usage. This is again by any means not to scare you, but to remind you of the opportunities if we could adopt these things before things get too worse. Next thing, COVID-19 also put us in a hard shape, with our usage of plastics, including protective separate swabs, single-use plastics, and hazardous waste materials. So there are a lot of opportunities on mitigating these things, including recycling these things. Same thing could be applicable even in the previous scenarios also in leveraging materials and metals, and of course other things including plastics, etc. We can actually make an interesting thing that I would touch upon a little later. Moving on, medical waste cause pollution and health issues also. This is a huge business by the way. We can create city-wide infrastructure to deal with this pollution, collecting the waste from hospitals, etc. And if we ignore it, which is easy, we are obviously developing vectors to encourage insects, rodents, and worms to grow, and which would lead ultimately to spread the diseases like typhoid, cholera, hepatitis, chikungunya, dengue fever, AIDS, and others. We are very familiar from Hyderabad on all these things. So these are all the things that are revolving around our health. So we need to be very, very careful, A, not only fixing, B, coming up with cool ideas to fix them at the source to begin with. This needs to be a collective effort, including the city municipalities, so that we would be very healthy by living in a city. Otherwise, we would get sick quite often. So if we touch upon the biodiversity crisis, direct drivers are like terrestrial fresh water resources depletion and marine resource depletion, etc. So on the indirect driver side, demographic and socio-cultural changes are coming. Economic and technological issues would pop up. Institution and governance need to be taken care of. More than anything else, conflicts and epidemics would pop up. We talked about epidemics already. COVID is a classic example. Conflicts, I just want to touch upon Rohingya immigration. So nobody made a mistake, but that thing happened. So where do the population move? if such things would happen. So that's one thing that we need to keep in mind always, because that's going to be a big menace down the road. If the things change in the near future due to any issue. So examples of declines of nature is like ecosystem extent and condition change, decline by 47%, it's already there. Species extension by 25%, already threatened with the extinction. Every day we are losing thousands of species. So this is big problem for the ecology also. For example, if we lose bees, we lose a lot of crops and fruits, etc. If you pay attention to the bee economy, bees contribute something like $260 million dollars economy around the globe. That is free from the nature. We're not paying a penny to them, but that's what's happening even without our knowledge. So these are all the silent things that are happening even if we don't pay attention on those things. Having them extinct is not a good thing. So those are all the nature servants to us. Let's take care of them so that we can have good food on our table, and if not, good fruits on our table. Biomass and special species abundance is reduced and fallen by 82%, which is alarming. Nature for ingredients and people and local communities is also depleting. 72% of indicators developed by indigenous people and local communities who have thorough knowledge on what was there before, what was changed, could determine ongoing deterioration. It is like a case study, learning from them and go back to the roots and fix the problem at the source, so that we can develop so many engineering ideas around these issues. So let's move on to the city living, urban living, etc. The good news is cities produce 80% of the global GDP, global gross domestic revenue. The bad news is 2/3 of energy is being consumed in the cities. And of course, unfortunately, over 70% of carbon dioxide is being emitted in the cities only. So this is something that we need to keep in mind. This emission would also evolve from our vehicles that we are using, including changing the fuel, etc. might help us. Of course, other lithium-ion batteries, EVs, etc. would also give good break from this pollution. Another thing concerned to me, mostly in India, is out of 100 highly polluted cities in the world, 65 are in India. That breaks my heart. You may wonder why. Because I born here, I studied here, I worked here, and I still have friends like you and my siblings and parents here. So this is a serious thing for me. That's the reason why I give talks on different institutions to bring this to the notice of many of our brothers and sisters, so that they pay attention and do something in their capacity, so that we can solve this problem. And in recent days, Hyderabad suddenly popped on to the radar, pollution radar, as 4th largest highly polluted city in the world. So I hope you guys paid attention to that news, and we all need to fold our sleeves to fix this problem. And on the other hand, with the rise of sea level, because of the glacier melting and Arctic melt, etc., 12 cities in India are also drowning under the sea. Sometimes they are talking about 12 meters. So that would obviously create Bangladesh Rohingya kind of immigration, and immigration is not fun, right? If we are going for opportunities like to US for job, that's a good thing. Moving away from coastal regions because of this submerge, etc., would always create havoc on natural resources on the other part. So that also include employment opportunities, food availability, so on and so forth. That kicks in a lot of issues. Poverty would also increase, and there would be so many community issues also because of the threats, disease raised, etc., because of this immigration and other things. So we have to have these things in mind because negligence also costs. For now, we're not paying attention in general, not you and me though, but many people around the world are not paying attention. It is not just the India story, it is the world story. On one side, we are dumping everything into the water bodies, and sometimes ships are breaking in the middle of the ocean, and they are also spilling oil. Unfortunately, they are breaking above the coral reefs. And the coral reefs are dying due to the coral bleach, etc. And one thing that we need to know here is coral reefs help the ocean to produce 50% oxygen. Whatever the oxygen that we breathe are coming out of ocean with the support of coral reefs. On the other hand, the economy around coral reefs, including making cancer cure medicines, etc., in the near future, would be counting somewhere around 400 billion business. That includes food chain, etc. So this is again free economy created by the nature. So we cannot ignore all these benefits that nature has offered us for free. On the other hand, we are knocking up the trees from the forests, etc. The right one is knocking up, cutting those mangroves, etc. Between mangroves and coral reefs, they prevent at least 40% to 60% of wave surge whenever there is a cyclone. So that is again nature's gift to us. Otherwise the wave strength would be more stronger than usual. So these are all the things. Whatever the pollution flows into the water, they're also killing the sea creatures, mainly fish and other stuff that are totally dependent on oxygen that is available in the water. So all in all, the oceans are also not absorbing carbon dioxide because of the more carbon dioxide accumulation, carbon dioxide level accumulation in the water. So if you flip all these issues as opportunities, in the ocean itself, we could talk about 30 trillion economy around the globe. If we could make a dent in the 30 trillion economy that ocean could offer, if we plan smartly around engineering many things to protect our oceans, we can be very rich than we think, obviously. So these are all the ideas that we could work to safeguard the ocean also, and also protect the coastal regions down the road. Moving on, if we touch upon what are the 5 polluting industries, first thing comes through energy, second transportation, 3 agriculture, 4th fashion and food retail. 5th one is food retail. We stop for a second and think about the opportunities, how we can reduce the pollution in all 5 industries. Sky is the limit for idea, but we need to be cautious because we cannot afford to repeat all the problems that we have unknowingly created. Of course, we can admit that we do not have that backup plan because of the education, but we are nowadays sitting on mountains of data. So each issue that makes pollution has a lot of data. That means it is a trigger to innovation and entrepreneurship and enterprise development also. Enterprise also can tinker using the data so that they can make or recreate green products so that their businesses would sustain in the long run. Otherwise, obviously, due to the global competition, if we are putting any product that is harm to the environment, that company unfortunately may have to perish because of the financial competition more than the worst PR. Even SECs and SEBIs are not allowing bad products into the market. The sustainability angle would get into the financial systems also, the way how they fund projects in the near future, including city projects, country projects, even in the big projects like hydrothermal projects, etc., even solar projects. All these things would evolve and insist on sustainability and environmental protection at large. So we cannot ignore these things. This is coming in a big way. Even organizations and big banks like I'm blanking on the name. Blackstone financial institution is also getting flagged along from Fidelity Bank investments, etc., because they're also investing huge money on fossil companies still. So these are all the changing winds, changing currents, I would say, so that we should keep in mind so that we can engineer our ideas in a way so that we do not repeat the old mistakes again for creating a vibrant green economy in any place that we live nowadays. So I would also just touch upon digital emissions. We all like digital technology, but we have a hindsight to that. Digital emission usually is the carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere due to production, use, and data transfer. This is also referred as digital carbon footprint. This is equivalent to almost carbon dioxide emissions to aviation industry, which is 2.3 to 3.7 globally. So for curious search into what's going on in a few things, even for fun, not actually fun. It is something that we need to be mindful of. For each email we send, it emits 1.45 grams of carbon dioxide. 50 searches per day in a search engine. Sorry, I'm supposed to say it is about the online search. Each search emits 1.45 grams of carbon dioxide. If we do 50 searches per day, we emit about 26 kilograms of carbon dioxide per year into the atmosphere. So some studies estimated that regular email contributes 4 grams of carbon dioxide into the environment. 50 grams would be emitted if we attach something hefty to the email. And sending 65 emails is roughly equivalent to driving a car for 1 kilometer. We all know about spam email. We struggle a lot to delete those things. Each spam email emit 0.3 grams. 120 trillion spam emails are being distributed every year so far, and it creates 36 million tons of carbon dioxide emission. That means to offset this pollution, we need to plant 3.6 billion trees wherever it is needed. That means it is a huge undertaking, right? Planting trees is easy. Keeping them alive for 20 years until they perform to keep this carbon that they absorb into the ground is a $1 trillion question again. So there are so many hurdles to reach to that point. So again, prevention is better than cure kind of analogy would always help us to think through the engineering ideas to mitigate the emission in digital technologies. For example, if you would like to consider or take a look at the emissions that we do not know yet, of course, many people is about watching YouTube movies and videos, Netflix, Hulu videos and movies. They obviously consume 300 million tons of carbon dioxide into the environment every year. So these are all the engineering opportunities again. The way how we use our materials to produce these things and how we use energy, how we use our cloud computing, etc., are all engineering ideas. So that includes even recycling of precious metals that we use in these technologies, etc. And of course, that falls back onto the mining also. So these are all the materials that we need to share with our future generation also. So all in all, these are all again, not even though they are stress points, these are all very, very huge engineering opportunities to begin with so that we can create very great green economy down the road. So on the other hand, the civic unrest is also growing. It is growing in India recently, but West is more active on that, including kids. And if you, I know you are all aware of Greta Thunberg's story, and she woke up many kids who are actually daydreaming until a few years, and then they all got in together, and they are not going to school every Friday since 4 years or so. And this is a concern to the parents also. Kids are taking active role in criticizing elders on ignoring these kind of issues. That includes parliamentarians, MLAs, and local leaders, etc. So this is coming big. So our kids are challenging us for our ignorance, and they know already that we put them in harm's way by doing the way so far the way we like it. So another important thing, these also touch upon the so-called, not so-called, a serious donut economies. If you look at this donut here, it has a social foundation, and it has social and just space for humanity, and also accompanied by ecological ceiling. So under social foundation, water, food, health, education, income, work, peace, justice, political voice, social equality, gender equality, housing, network, energy, etc. come. If we push this beyond those levels, that would enter into the safe and just space for humanity, which means it may break certain things in terms of regenerative and distributive economy. What happens if we cross that ecological ceiling? Climate change would happen, which we are discussing already. Ocean acidification, we touched upon that already. Chemical pollution, we touched upon that thing. And we talked about fertilizers in terms of nitrogen and phosphorus loading, freshwater withdrawal. We haven't touched that, but again, one or 2 years of drought would change any country's fate. Any country's fate. If you don't like what I am saying, just take a look at the plight of African countries. Madagascar has everything 5 years ago. Now they are struggling to migrate. Any country that would take them. Very few countries are showing interest to help them. Of course, some foreign aid is coming from the West, but in all, it is a great tragedy that we are experiencing nowadays. So land conversion would be a big issue. Biodiversity loss we covered. Air pollution we touched upon, which also includes ozone layer depletion, etc. So to give you a clear idea, every year our planet could offer certain natural resources for us to use. It is like in simple explanation, it is like if you have 10 crores in your bank account, you should be able to use wisely to save some money for you, for your next generation also. If you don't do that, and if you overuse it, meaning if you borrow 7 more crores, you spend all 17 crores. I'm talking about the total expense. If you spend 17 crores, now you have already consumed 70% extra, right? So that 70% you are already indebted, right? So we cannot deal like that with the natural resources that our planet could offer. So in other words, to make it clear, if our planet could offer certain resources naturally available for 1 year, we are consuming them before June arrives or July arrives. That's our situation nature-wise. So this would put us on hard path because many of these materials are not replenishable, like metals. Sometimes in a scenario of drought, we cannot replenish water, right? So these are all the things that we need to keep in mind. That also dwindles down to economy, and this is called donut economy. Once we safeguard all the natural planetary offerings that our planet is offering us for free, then we will be in a protective situation. Otherwise, we are putting ourselves into danger. So the lead up to this kind of situation is the current linear model. Typically, we use raw material product, we produce something and we use it and we throw them as a non-recyclable waste. So that has to be changed. And again, at this point, this has immense capacity of innovation and entrepreneurship. Anything that we touch upon, anything that we think about on the things that we have already discussed, we are latching onto other things also pretty soon. So the eco-friendly approach, all in all, is about reusing these things. This has been, put forward by Ellen MacArthur Foundation, so that they every enterprise would understand the availability of finite materials that our planet could offer, which also corresponds to the previous donut economy that I have explained, and give us an opportunity to use these precious materials again and again through recycling, etc. Even on the natural side, even on the aerobic, anaerobic side, including scenarios like generating biogas, regeneration, and also farming, etc. So this also includes biochemical feedstock, safe utilization, etc., in a cascading way, so that we can collect and reuse them in a way so that we can create a circular economy. Engineering wise, this is a brilliant idea. Of course, as Indians, we are a nation of sustainability, but unfortunately, in the recent decades, somehow we lost in transition. We need to get back to our roots on doing all these things again, and this would put us on the world map as number one, if not two. So I'm talking reverse. If not, we cannot aim for 3, 4, or something more than that. If we aim for 1, we would at least accomplish number 2. So that's my intention to bring that up, that to your notice. So whatever we do, it is time to adopt UN SDGs also. This is very good time, because UN also promoting all these things to make industry, citizens anywhere in the world to understand the intricacies of each SDG goal and how they interoperate along with one another. So if we are talking about SDG 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, that would actually alleviate poverty, zero hunger, good health, etc., because people would earn salaries. And of course, if we drill down to sustainable cities and communities, it would also give you vibrant economies. And of course, climate action is the most needed one to safeguard the ocean. Of course, 14, life below, water, etc., life on land included, peace and justice. When we could do all the great things, peace and justice would prevail, and that would create strong institutions and stronger communities. To achieve all these things, we need partnerships. We need to share the common burden of sharing knowledge and responsibility at the same time, so that we can hand out the planet safer to our next generation. So to align all these UN SDGs, I try to compile these UN SDGs in environmental context, social context, and also governance context. I think I need not explain more on those things, because the picture itself would explain very well. And I'm also sure that you all know these things very well. My attempt here is to just to remind you guys and refocus if we are missing on anything so far. And at the same time, the UN alignment also align with a few things that are not usually understood well on food regulation, climate regulation, foundation for human infrastructure, provision of construction materials, provision of food, fiber, and fuel, carbon sequestration, nutrient cycling, water purification and soil contaminant reduction, source of pharmaceuticals and genetic resources, culture and heritage, included. So these are all the engineering concepts which are built into UN SDGs, and promote these things in a way so that we can still use engineering skills, whatever we do in our life by profession, whatever the ideas we have to progress. And to arrive those things, we need to have a new design thinking. Prevention, I just want to reiterate on prevention is better than cure kind of approach. To get there, we have to have a new concept of understanding the problem as it is and develop new ideas, share those ideas with everybody. And we have to deal with the carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gas emissions down the road in an aggressive way. We need to identify technologies that support less water consumption. I didn't mean that it is not happening, but it has to happen in a rapid way so that we save a lot of water, because we might run out of glacier water pretty soon. And we are also hearing every year that Everest is losing snow cap, and it is losing more water than ever every year due to the global warming. So we need to also conserve our fertile lands. Once we misuse our fertile lands, it is tough to it is tough to get them back. I just want to throw an idea. You might already know these things. Excuse me for a quick sec. Making up 1 gram soil takes 500 years. This is serious. So if we lose our fertile land, you imagine the situation. So while I'm talking about, I would also like to touch upon prevention of soil erosion, which is also important. So when there is drought, soil would erode as quick as possible, and I don't have to paint a picture on those things. You all already know about these things. That would obviously put a dent on maintaining biodiversity as well. So we need to address effluent, and if effluent means the rich people doing all wrong things should be addressed pretty soon. I'm not against them, but if they can use their money and if they can behave really well, they can actually be at the greater service to the entire humanity and for themselves also in the longer run. In fact, they are doing greater service for themselves also to begin with. So effluent mess is enormous. So we all have to deal with this at every second. So using common sense over consumerism should be the main criteria. We need to work on value chain instead of supply chain. I would also touch upon one interesting concept that is popping out. That is impact economy over profit economy. So the things are changing, as I said. So many youngsters are thinking about the impact economy, not the profit economy anymore. So that's the reason why they are using Uber a lot. The younger generation in the West are also not buying cars and not even buying homes, just like my generation did. So these are all the examples that we could think of. What is coming into the play in the near future, and that also saves money and creates new economies as well. So the other angle that I would look at in India context is we need to innovate, incorporating environmental safety first. We need to shift ourselves from service nation to innovation nation. Focus more on basic research leading to technology commercialization is very, very important. We compare with China, and I always worry about the numbers. We are catching up, there is no doubt, but again, in terms of rise to the technology along with the China almost surpassed US also nowadays in terms of generating intellectual property. The reason why I am saying is any nation's wealth is intellectual property. When we say we acknowledge this rich guy, that rich company, whatever it is the power of intellectual property. That's how they are more profitable. That's how the individuals got wealthy. So that's how a nation would be created wealthy. So these are all the silent features that we need to keep in mind to create a vibrant Indian economy moving into the future. I know the current governments, all the current governments, including Telangana government, are making big strides towards all these things, but we need more speed in addressing those things honestly to create more vibrant green economy. I will touch upon those things little later in a different angle, but for now, we need to strengthen research at universities and government institutions. We need to break down all the hierarchies and we need to share the knowledge so that we can create collaboration and co-creation, which is the key and vital for any development from now onwards in a green way. Green economy is going to lead in the future. So if we cannot achieve all these things now, we cannot achieve even in India context. So we need to step forward to be a responsible citizen wherever we are. We need to apply design thinking. We need to think at molecular level, even though it is the toughest thing, and we need to accomplish the biodegradation part as much as possible, embracing circularity without over commoditization, without putting products that are harmful into the market, having transparency in carbon footprint and ESG scores. I want to touch upon these two things. Having carbon footprint, lower carbon footprints and best ESG scores, because SEBI and other financial institutions are asking these things. They have already asked top 1,000 companies even in India to let them know about their ESG score so that they would build some good architecture over the policies, etc. So all in all, we need to aim for race in net zero accomplishment. We need to encourage, participate, and strengthen our regulation also. This is also an engineering opportunity in all those things. When we know better, we can keep regulatory policies in place and also implement those things. Otherwise, it is lose-lose connection, and we all get into the same old situation. And the unfortunate scenarios that will pop up from now onwards is once we lose, we never accomplish those things. We never get back to that situation ever. So this is a pressing, urgent thing that we need to seriously consider unless we want to fail as a global citizen. Impact accounting that I touched upon, or profit accounting already. So to get there, we need to move on eco-friendly approach, design and development of green products, green services, and we need to stick to our supplier, also accomplish those goals in a green way, and operation should be in a green way, and also distribution should be in a green way, and we need to be responsible in recycling these things also in a green way to accomplish these goals financially also. So about the opportunities, sky is the limit. I think I stopped at, I'm exhausted after listing 23, actually 23 huge opportunities. Take up renewable energy. You can do, you can knock off fossil fuels by creating, energy solutions through biofuels, etc. For example, you can make biofuels from plants and other stuff. You can make biofuels from algae, etc. I'm involved in algae research, etc. And you can do organic and nutritional value food, again, using plants and other valuable ideas through algae, etc. I'm fascinated about the algae stories for two reasons. The fossil fuel originally is coming from algae decomposition, right? So, and also that falls in the same category in food value point of view also. We can actually make so many valuable products that would eventually fall into preventive healthcare, like macular degeneration, prevention of macular degeneration, prevention of cancer, prevention of skin cancer, prevention of cholesterol in our blood, prevention of Parkinson's disease, prevention of Alzheimer's, etc. These are all the things that I have noticed as an organic chemist being worked in pharma and biotech industries. There are patents, several patents filed in that trend. Also, we can actually look into these opportunities as a chemical engineer, as a chemist, or as a biotech engineer, life science engineer, whatever it is. And many engineers could also make use of those opportunities to build infrastructure, to build systems, including HVAC, buildings, and other systems that are required to establish these industries. Water management is a huge opportunity. There is no lack of pollution in any water body in anywhere you could imagine in the world nowadays. This is riddled with high pollution. These are all opportunities. For example, I involved in a project where we can actually deal with water pollution, mitigating eutrophication from organic enzymes instead of using synthetic chemicals. For example, in Hussain Sagar, government has spent more than 350 crores and there is no solution at site. I'm thinking that way. If you could use some of the alternative solutions, that would permanently fix and work like a calcium-based solution, calcium carbonate-based solution, you would have a different approach. We are trying to work with engineers locally and internationally also to do a trial, a pilot project with government support or any foundation or any company's goodwill, which may cost around 40 lakhs in Indian currency. If we could prove this thing works, we know it would work. I personally know it works. We can scale this up to the national level and to the international level. So in Hyderabad itself, we have 8,000 lakes which are highly polluted. So look at the opportunity, A, idea-wise, B, engineering-wise. Whatever we do in manufacturing those organic enzymes, there is a lot of engineering skills needed to develop A, infrastructure, B, in employment point of view also. Waste management, you know better than me. Green building, I will touch upon that briefly also. Mobility, transportation has great engineering opportunities. Regenerative agriculture, we touched upon that already. We touched upon pollution-free fashion. Sustainable mining is a key thing from now onwards. We cannot dig the way how we dug before, because we need to hand out these precious metals to our next generation also. So, and even the precious metals like lithium ion are also scarce nowadays. At one point of time, we would run out of all those mines, and if we don't put some circularity into these ideas, we cannot produce more valuable things down the road. This applies to any metal that we use nowadays. So aquaculture could be done in a different way than usual that we have today. Forestation is the key to absorb carbon dioxide because it is cheap, and plants, we need to protect plants for 20 years ago to have them fully perform to sequester the carbon into the ground. And of course, ideas like growing mangroves along the shoreline would also not only prevent the erosion and also wave surge, and actually mangroves are the best carbon store. Carbon could create an environment of best carbon sinking in even in the ocean bed. So it applies even on the ground also. We can also think about some other ideas that would actually sequester carbon more quickly than any great idea like sucking carbon dioxide out of air and then place them into the ground, because it takes a lot of money in terms of investment and other issues we don't know yet. So let's use the nature friendly technologies first before we approach on other things. We need all these things simultaneously for that fact. And we also can look into shipping technologies, the transportation technology through sea. We can actually create solar efficiency, energy usage for ships, etc., instead of fossil fuel, etc. And education has a lot of opportunities also. Every university needs to include education on these things to promote basic research and innovation and entrepreneurship. Another good leap could be marine farming. we need to be real, little bit careful on all these things also. Marine farming in some places got in trouble because of the lack of the knowledge. So we cannot overdo anything. Tourism is one big thing. If we could achieve in a sustainable way and create infrastructure, aviation is the huge thing. In fact, we can look into models like biofuels, even for the regular transportation. I know we are coming big. We are coming big on mixing fuels, which is quite often in Western countries. California is a leader in such things. Perhaps instead of reinventing those ideas, we can actually collaborate with the companies and demand those companies to do the same thing in India, because they don't need to create much infrastructure. It is easy for them for two reasons. They are international company, multinational companies. Same BP is operating everywhere. So same other companies, Exxon companies and other companies are operating everywhere. All that matters is intention. So as Indian citizens, we all need to demand for such things. If government is not moving, we all need to bring this to the notice of governments, and it is easy to flip into those things. At the same time, imagine the opportunities that we could lash on to automobile industry per se. We can, we are running our vehicles with CNG, gas, etc. Flip that idea into biofuels, adding biofuels to reduce carbon emissions, etc. And more than that, regulatory thing is going to be a huge industry, A, in consulting wise, B, we do not have enough manpower to control everything. So it is going to create huge employment opportunity if we all can do this in a responsible way, so that we would not put each other in harm's way down the road. That is going to be a national strength also. So I want to accomplish, and I wish to accomplish all through these ingenious and engineering ideas in the near future as fastest as possible, so that we can create vibrant economy for our mother India. So moving on, I would just want to touch upon one simple thing: green buildings, and it is even in the South Asian context, or even in the worldwide, it is turning out to be a 24.7 trillion opportunity by 2030. Imagine the opportunities on one just thing. I touched upon the ocean technology opportunity, right? So if you only focus on East Asia, in which India is also there, it is 17.80 trillion. It is coming under emerging market as well. So look at these opportunities in one single area. And we as engineers can accomplish being a nation of sustainability 3 decades ago. This is a huge opportunity in every front that we can imagine, the way how we build, the way how we deal with this industry afresh. So key ingredient is to unlock investment in this area, and this flows into any green building that we can build from now onwards, which should also have a certification to encourage good behavior among all these businesses. So governments must also prioritize low carbon buildings, for example, and also they have to update the climate pledges. It is not just a pledge, it has to be an actionable plan year after year, month after month, very seriously. Sustainable construction creates jobs and boosts economy also. Activities of local value chains pushing for decarbonization increases. Higher circularity and efficiency would also come into the play. 30 jobs in manufacturing and construction would be created for each million of investment in that area. This is a true story, my friends. So if that happens only in building area, building construction industry, imagine what could happen in other areas. Even if we do not focus more in most other areas, this itself is a huge economy in a growing city context at least, right? So, and whatever we do, these are all the emerging technologies that we have to deal with. This is all nothing but engineering, right? So look at the materials usage and idea usage and idea emergence and the startup and tinkering and application of artificial intelligence, blockchain, and these are all the ideas, including cloud computing, VR, AR. Of course, we touched upon agriculture. Banking is going to be a revolutionary thing if blockchain applied properly. And CFTs has a sad story for now, but again, there are two players who showcase some of the success stories also. That also flows through the healthcare industry. Okay? There is meaning biotech, pharma, and medical device companies. So there is a huge need of engineering in any aspect that we could change as today, including in managing a lab, a simple lab as a green lab. So these need to be retrofitted or need to be, encouraging new materials, including recycling, like banning single-use plastic even in the healthcare industry, etc. So this could flow into robotics and also fashion technology, as we touched upon, and all the electronic gadgets. These are all the engineering opportunities. Take a piece of it and imagine the opportunity. I think space is the limit, and we don't know how far we can go into the space, but it is abundance, I would say. Bottom line shows, auto industry like Tesla, etc., and of course satellite. There are emerging ideas like how do you bring back those used materials from the space, meaning space junk. That thing would die and remain there forever. Instead of losing all those materials, if we could have a plan to bring those things at the rate of India launching all other countries' satellites into the space, we could create a new whole world of business in saving precious materials and circulate those things and launch more satellites more affordably into the space. Think about this simple but complex opportunity. It is coming. When a satellite, when a spaceship is making up and down travel like our buses into the space, these things are the near future. Of course, the robotics are also getting in there, and the materials usage and the technologies are getting everywhere, including remote surgeries, etc. Sky is the limit. I should rephrase. Space is the limit, right? No, we have to go through these, space horizons that are not explored yet, using all these technologies, making use of our civilization for the best ever. And the time has come now to show our best part as best engineers, especially from India. And we have no lack of knowledge. And one thing I want to stress is, even though we have to deal with the local languages, please jump in and do it, because a lot of economies still are doing so many things in their mother language. Like Germany is half English and half Germany, but majority would prefer to do in Germany. Same thing with Russia and China, also same thing. I'm almost done on these things. Thank you for bearing with me. And if you look into the technologies that are into smart tech, there are technologies listed in smart city context as well. So moving forward, we have to keep all these things, adopting green technologies. And in conclusion, what I want to tell is, nowadays we are having these extreme temperatures. Whatever the technology we use, here we are dealing with the carbon dioxide emissions, and we are making our planet unlivable in the near future. Actually, we are supposed to try not to toast ourselves in the extreme temperatures. So we need to keep these things in mind. I do this kind of provocative reminders to our friends and technology adopters, so that we all can work together in the near future to do right things. So if we don't, we know the story very well. And rich countries have gone on their way, and we somewhere lost in transition. And here we are struggling to deal with these things without much money on hand, at least in dealing with this pollution, to be honest. So what's next? We need to be careful. If you don't trust me on this thing, Think about this. We know about this. We cannot touch, we cannot cut the branch that we are sitting upon. If you still wonder, I'm talking about the planet. I'm sure about this because we do not have planet B. With that, thank you so much for the opportunity. You can reach out to me anytime on this contact information. You can follow me on our social media. You can also follow Suraksha on several cool things that we are trying to put forward in the market, especially in the Indian economy in the near future. We all can together build a vibrant and green economy, not only for us, but also for our future generation. Thanks again for the great opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Engineer Prasad Jaladri garu. So our chairman is having another appointment. So now I am trying to conclude this one, sir. So your lecture is wonderful, sir. It is very interesting, informative, and enlightening one, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So from the participants, if you are having any doubts, you can ask now. Any queries, please? Prasad garu is ready to answer you. Yes, no queries, sir. Then we'll try to conclude it, sir. Sir, it is my pleasant duty to perform vote of thanks. Engineer Prasad Jaladi, founder and chief facilitator, Suraksha, the Ultimate Care Private Limited. Engineer B. Brahma Reddy, FIE chairman, IEI Telangana State Center. Professor Moinuddin, convener of this event and committee member of IEI TSC. Engineer B. Ramesh Kumar garu, committee member. Engineer P.S. Narayana, Engineer G. Kondarao garu, Sarvesya Rao garu, Dr. Shafi, Palle Srinivas garu, past presidents and vice presidents of IEI, chairman, honorary secretaries, past chairman, past honorary secretaries, committee members of IEI Telangana State Center, all corporate members of IEI Telangana State Center, ladies and gentlemen. So on behalf of the Institution of Engineers Telangana State Center and on my own behalf, I convey my sincere and profound thanks to Engineer Prasad Jaladi, founder and chief facilitator Suraksha, the Ultimate Care Private Limited, for sparing his valuable time and addressing the gathering as the keynote speaker on the day on the celebrations of this National Technology Day. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your interesting and elaborative lecture, sir. Thank you. I am grateful to the past presidents, vice presidents, past chairmen, past honorary secretaries, committee members of IEA Telangana State Center, corporate members, and all the participants who have attended this event and made a success. Thanks to one and all. Now I request all of you kindly stand for national anthem. Ratnangaru.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind. Once again,